see if that'll stream. And boop, boop. Checking out our live stream. Yeah. So this is day 2. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good midday. It's about noon, lunchtime. Hello. Oh, Fievel, that I wouldn't do that. She was charging puppy dogs yesterday. Let's not do that. Let's not have you in here, buddy. Can you be over there somewhere? Let's see. I'm gonna call. We have a little itty bitty geriatric Chihuahua. What a good girl. And he doesn't need to be in this space. I'm gonna call. Get somebody to come get him. So he's not in this space. Because our golden girl is quite the karate kid when it comes to other critters. Hey, do you think you could send Sarlin out to come scoop up Fievel? It is not safe for him to be in here. Okay, thank you. All right, Fievel. Fievel, you gotta go back to the house. Fievel, come here. You gotta go back to the house. Come here. Come on. It's not safe in here for you. No, it's not safe for a little bitty Chihuahua to be in here with a great big wild Mustang, even though she is a very quiet, grounded wild Mustang. She's also very quick to go after critters. Hey, yeah, I do. Can you come over here? Thanks. Ooh, thank you. It's actually getting kind of warm. I'll do a little layer removal here. Fortunately, I have another layer underneath it. All right. Now we're getting there. Okay. So for those that are new, this is brand new wild Mustang that is joining us here at I Am Heard. And this is our second day interacting together. She is 7-year-old mare, coming 8 as it is already December, so it'll be 8 in the new year. She's from Roberts Mountain, Nevada. She's had quite a few babies, we know, because of her teats. Pretty certain that feel very certain that she had a baby in holding. And she stayed in holding at a facility in Utah for 2 years. She was gathered in 2023. She stayed in holding for 2 years. And then this past summer, she was moved up to Idaho, to a wild horse facility in Idaho, and was put on the internet adoption. Her picture surfaced in the midst of the shutdown when the internet adoption was still rolling kind of on autopilot. And I honestly didn't know how we were going to be able to actually get her here, but I so drawn to her and pushed that button, and the rest has unfolded up until this moment. She obviously is here, and this is our second session together, and I'm feeling really dedicated as part of the mission of I Am Heard Mustang Sanctuary to really share the journey with this being as completely as I possibly can. And so I am videoing and I'm live streaming both same time. And what I'm doing right now is starting out in our neutral. This is something we introduced yesterday for the first time, and she's obviously familiar. I'm basically making a rainbow shape, an arc in front of her, and I'm keeping myself the same distance from her body as I make this arc. And my intention is for both of us to just be in a place of relaxation, for her to know that she can just ground, not that she doesn't need to be concerned about me moving, but that actually my movement in this way is a cue to her, is a part of our language that we're building that says that she can ground, that she should ground, and drop her roots. It's entirely okay for her to look off in the distance. It's actually, I really consider that a wonderful thing when the horse is able to be grounded in their body and not need to watch me so intently. If she was watching me super intently, as she did some of the time yesterday, that tells me that she's feels the need to watch me in that way, which means she's a bit concerned about me. So I'm really glad that this is where we're picking up here, a place that she's obviously not concerned about me and is comfortable just being grounded. So the next thing I'm going to do is something we also introduced yesterday, which is asking the thoughts to move. So right now we're in neutral. And what we're getting ready to do is I'm just going to basically ask for a little bit of gas pedal. Now, gas pedal is what I consider asking the thoughts to move. And it has nothing to do with steering. She can go wherever she wants to go. So it's not as much a directional quality. It's more just asking for her to have some forward motion somewhere. And what is really important to me is not where she goes, but how she goes. So I'm wanting her to understand when I'm asking for that forward motion, and I want her to be able to let that energy flow through her body in a way where she's able to remain relaxed in her body. So that's what we're going to practice first. And check in here. Go a little more this way. All right, so I'm going to put myself just a little behind the drive line, kind of back here. First, she checks in with me. So that is absolutely fine. It's not wrong, but it's not what I'm asking for. That's what I'm asking for. So as soon as she gives me that, I drop the stick and I stop asking. And that's how she knows that was the right answer. Again, I don't care where she goes. It doesn't matter that she veered off and then tracked a chicken for a moment and went towards the rail. All that matters is that she recognizes that I asked for some movement and that she was able to handle that ask from a place of relaxation. So again, go back to this neutral. And now I'm in a different position, right? I'm passing behind her tail, which is a very big deal to some Mustangs. This particular Mustang is consistently proving to be really phenomenal every step of the way. Really, really, really a cool girl. All right, so once I've established that I have that same neutral here behind her, then I can ask for that forward again. So now I'm going to ask again. Nice. And I'm going to take off the request when she moves, and then I'm actually going to ask again. So nice. Nice. And then I'm going to stop asking. Well done. So well done. I'm just going to take a step back to let her process that. So well done. So this is all things that we did yesterday, and that was really well done. She did, her breathing elevated a little bit as we started tracking around, which is absolutely not wrong. There's going to be times that it elevates a lot more than that. Good girl. So it's something that it's information that I'm taking in, because it's important to me to be attuned with her experience of this interaction. And so for me to recognize that me asking for her to track forward and walk that circle around me causes a little bit of concern, not so much that she can't do it. And it's such a small amount of concern that maybe many would not even say that it was concern, but you could certainly see her nostrils flaring a little bit. And so that's just tells me that that's something information that I want to take note of. And the important thing is also that she can come back down from that. So I want her to be able to feel that very slight flexing of that muscle and then be able to let that go. We start practicing that early on in little baby steps, so that as we progress and things become much, there's more intensity, which there will be as time goes on, that she's able to handle that with ease and be able to feel that pressure and then set that pressure free. And ultimately be able to have a freedom inside of the pressure itself. All right, so I'm going to do the same. I'm going to ask for a little bit of, now her head's facing a little away from me here, so I'm just going to wait. There we go. So my ask is just to kind of let my stick basically start walking. It's like my stick is like her feet, and it kind of walks her. My eyes are on her belly because I'm wanting to hold her out away from me just a little bit, and she feels that. Now this time, instead of just stopping, I'm actually going to move my eyes to her hip, And I'm going to draw away from her a little bit, give her a little room to move into that flow. So my eyes are on her barrel, my eyes shift to her hip, and I'm going to draw away. And then notice how her front end walks in towards me like that. So nice. Well done. Well done. So this is, I mean, she did that really, really well, but this is still new for her. We just introduced it briefly yesterday. So well done. I think I'm going to move our camera other side here. See if I can get over here with the sun behind us. Hey, you. I know I'm a little close, aren't I? A little closer than I've been. Getting the camera set up. Oh, you are so smart. Geez, you're so smart. All right. And I wouldn't necessarily have my camera equipment. Oh, she did this yesterday. On the inside with every Mustang, but this one has seemed to be just fine. Yeah, it's all about you. You are the star. You are. You are the star. Yeah. Let's not push it over though. There we go. All right, so we're going to go back into that, me asking for that walk. Now, the other thing we introduced yesterday was a little bit of a direction of thought. So that is when I'm guiding the shoulders. I'm going to walk a little more towards her hip to bring her around that circle a little more. See the little bit of snortiness with the nose. So that just tells me that she's a little uncomfortable. I'm not looking to keep her in a place where she's not uncomfortable. It's okay to be uncomfortable, but I am looking to be aware of when she is slightly uncomfortable and to make sure that I'm staying in a place that I can bring her back to a place of comfort as we kind of stretch into new places. So she's checking in right now, asking if she could go ahead and face up. I'm going to look at the hip. I'm going to draw away. I'm going to say yes to that request. Say yes, as a matter of fact, you can, my dear. You can. It's a very good idea. Yeah. So there's 4 things I'm working with. I've got our neutral that I started with, where I'm just walking back and forth and she's grounding. I've got our, so right here, so if we start walking, I'm just going to go back to that neutral right here. I'm just going to walk in front. I'm not telling her to stop, but I'm just kind of stepping into that line of thought, and I'm just going to walk this arc because I just want to, I'm wanting to help her see that we can do this dance together. She's a very independent horse. She really doesn't need me very much, and I love that. So there's some times that she's kind of like, okay, I know the deal. I'm going to go ahead and just do the thing. And sometimes that's wonderful, but I want to be able to remind her that we can do the thing together, and that sometimes the thing is to drop roots and just wait. So that was really well done. So now I'm going to go back towards her tail. And this time she did kind of anticipate and start walking, but that's fine. I'm going to roll with that one. The anticipation factor, ask her to walk on, can really help us out sometimes too. So sometimes I'm going to use that to our advantage. So as we're just walking like this, my eye kind of stays mostly at the midpoint of her barrel. If she was to start to drift out further away from me, I'd bring my eyes back to her hip a little bit, and I would slow my feet a little bit more. If she started to drift in to me too much, my eyes would go more towards her shoulders to push those shoulders back out. Well done. So eyes to the hip. I'm going to draw away. And I'm just giving her time to get really comfortable with that particular motion right there, because that's pretty new for us. We just started that a little bit yesterday. Yeah. Really, really loving her being able to come down from that. Relax. I'm going to practice that neutral again because I don't want her to think that just because I walk towards her tail that we're going to walk off. Go back to this neutral. I think if I was to put a tagline on YouTube and say, you know, day 2 wild Mustang gentling, I don't think if people saw this girl, they might not believe it, huh? But you know what? Sometimes it looks just like this. And this is amazing when it can look just like this. Really, really special horse. All right, this time I'm going to ask her to walk off from this side. So I'm going to come this way. Walk a little more towards the tail to encourage her front end to drift around. Asking that front end to drift around the other way. Nice. Seeing if she'll steer clear of our camera here. Thank you. This way is a little less comfortable for her. I think you rubbed yourself on the panel. Don't do that too much. A little place where her hair's rubbed off. Yep, see right here how she would like to track back the other way. She's not super resistant to it, but definitely me being on the right feels a little different for her than me being on the left. So I'm going to spend some time over here. You can see how she's, if you remember from when she was tracking left, the circle was really smooth. It was fairly round. Right now it's a little more wobbly. This is better. So as the circle gets better, I'm going to look at that hip and then I'm just going to draw away just like that. Beautiful job. Well done. Well done. And then I'm going to go into our neutral of this, walking this arc to help remind her that once we pause that she can drop those roots. Because in this space, I don't want her to be thinking about every time we stop, she's going to just take off again. Not that we've done any taking off yet. And if we can do all this communication and only walk, then that is gold. Like, we don't need to go up to any faster pace yet. If we need to, we will. But if we're able to communicate here and stay at a nice, relaxed walk, then that is wonderful. Because it's much easier to think and process and take in new information when we are in a relaxed state of being and yet in movement. We need movement. You know, we can't learn how to go forward and turn and things like that if we don't have some movement. So we need movement, but just a relaxed walk is just phenomenal. That is wonderful. So I'm going to, I feel like I could just walk all the way around her, and that would be kind of the step beyond the half circle, the rainbow, but I don't feel like I need to do that quite yet. And I think it would be asking a little bit much. So now we're going to go back into that walk. Oh, that was very well done right there. So again, I'm going to kind of walk towards her tail a little more because see how she wants to drift out so straight. I'm going to guide her back around this way. Nice. 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 And I'm just looking for our circle to be able to be relaxed, fluid, and to have her not feel the need to nestle up into that corner so much over there, which she didn't that time. Keeping my eyes on her barrel. Nice. Looking at that hip and drawing away. Well done. Yeah. You smart girl. Such a smart girl. The more knowledge that we have and communication, then the better prepared we are for those intimate first touches. She's obviously relaxed. It would not be hard to get a first touch, I do believe. But it's really important to me that we have clear communication, that I can guide her body, that she's comfortable with me guiding her body before I invite those intimate first touches. For one thing, in my experience with the Mustangs, for some of them, especially a horse like this that's so comfortable in her own skin already, after you have those first touches, they just tend to just melt in the most beautiful way, which is wonderful. But whatever aspect of them that kind of was questionable about you sometimes can fade pretty quickly with a horse that's really confident. And that aspect that is a little questionable actually is helpful in this with this horse in helping her develop sensitivity. You know, some Mustangs and some horses are so overly sensitive that we're needing them to see that they don't need to be concerned about anything. And it's not that I want her to be concerned about anything, but I do want her to feel the need to pay attention. And so I want to capitalize on this, the fact that she's nice. So right there, I don't do anything to say no to that, but I also don't stop my ask. Just let her think. Yep. And I also don't really escalate my ask. It just stays the same. Nice. And I drop my stick and she does the most beautiful draw in when I do so. And that was so nice because that's the side she's been going to, kind of, and she didn't at all that time. So I'm going to do my little arc again. And it's in a new place now, which is a little different. We've been over here. Nice. So she's totally fine with that. So now I'm going to ask for that forward again. That time she kind of drifted away. I asked her to step back the other way. Well done. So this side I do need to spend some more time on. Eyes at her barrel. Looking at that hip and draw away. Oh, so nice. Well done. Well done. Go back into this neutral. All right, I'm going to see what this circle looks like again, tracking right. Oh, that was nice. That was much better. See how I'm backing up in that part? I'm drawing her back into the circle. Now I can start walking with her a little bit here. Walking an itty bitty circle because she's walking a pretty small circle around me. But if my feet are going forward, I'm asking her to go forward. Looking at her hip, drawing in. Well done. All right. Well done. So I'm going to let that be a Z for a little bit. Our Z's are last thing that we do. Even if we just take a short little break, that Z is a place where she can kind of take that in. That was really nice. Nice circle right there. All right. Cool. I think the streaming thing is working. Looks like it is. I can see you on there. Yeah. I'm really wanting to share with you all the process of this, and the reality is that things move very slow, and it's a lot of video. Things move so slow. All right, let's see here. So now, let's see if I can go back into asking for that forward. Okay. Nice. Really nice. Really just looking for a rhythm within the walk. Looking for her to just feel relaxed. Gonna look at that hip and draw away. Nice. Really nice. And then I'm gonna do my neutral again. Really nice. Really nice. Oh, you are so nice. All right, I'm feeling like we're ready for a next step here. I'm going to go back into that neutral. She goes to walk off. All I'm doing, I'm not telling her no, but you can see how I'm just stepping into that line of travel. And then I just go into that neutral place until I feel her settle back in to that, dropping those roots. This is truly one of the most fundamental pieces here. And it's amazing how the wild horses, can learn so quickly, really how to, what we might call ground tie, how to be able to just be grounded. And it's really one of the things I find can be quite difficult for a lot of domestic horses. But if we build this in early on, they really understand. It's because it's not just being still. It's well, for one thing, it isn't just being still. There's a movement inside of her energetically. She's not stoic. She's soft. Her eyes are softly blinking. She's quiet. Her lips are soft. She's moving inside. That's really important. And also, this becomes a neutral, just like if you're driving a stick shift and you put the car in first gear, and then you need to go put it in second gear, or let's say you need to switch to reverse. You have to go to neutral in between each gear. And those that only drive automatics, your automatic is doing it for you, but it's still happening. I guess that's equivalent to a horse that's kind of knows how to take care of somebody and maybe they're doing it for you. But regardless, it's really important to be able to find that neutral. And so this is the foundation of that neutral. And it's a place that we'll go to forever. You know, no matter how advanced we become in our relationship, we'll always need to have this neutral place. I also think of it as a peace pocket, a little peace pocket that's inside of everything we do and that we can always go to anytime we need it. So this is building that in. So I now have that pattern, right, of walking back and forth. I have that same pattern. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let my stick walk on the inside of my path a little bit and just observe her comfort with that. She's pretty comfortable with it. Yeah. Because I'm going to let my stick be like a long arm to be able to reach out, pet her with. And I want her to be okay with it first. Man, you were just really exceptional. All right, so here I'm going to stop for a moment. Now, when I've been stopping, I've been then asking her to move. So I want her to be okay with me stopping and still just standing. And I can kind of use my stick to continue that repetitious movement to let her know that's all that is. See how that then she felt like that meant leave, right? That's okay. That's absolutely not wrong. But I have a way to say, actually, it's okay. You can stay grounded when I do that. I mean, it looked to her like I was asking her to leave using the stick in that way. The difference in the way I use my stick is less about the way I use it. It's more in the intention behind it. And my intention was never for her to leave. So just going to go back to doing with my body, the thing I was doing with the stick. I'm going to put the stick into it here, kind of let it do a little more of a up and down so that she gets comfortable with that motion and doesn't think that motion itself means go. We actually have used that motion, see right there? So I'm going to come step in front of that line of thought. So she's feeling kind of some mixed signals right now because she's seen the stick. When the stick's been moving, it's meant for her to move, and for it to be moving like this and mean the opposite, not only for her not to move, but for her to ground, is a little different for her. And so it's important that I recognize that. I mean, she hasn't even actually left, but she's certainly thinking about it. And so that means that I don't need to go any further than this. And see how her weight is in her front right? Nice. It's in that front right leg. So she's kind of prepared to leave. So all that is just good information for me so that I know I need to work on this step further. So all I'm doing here is just this repetitious movement. So I'm walking back and forth, helping her see, because she understands now that when I walk back and forth, that she can just ground. She's not so sure about the stick flopping back and forth. She thinks maybe that should mean that she should do something. Certainly, if there's any bit of information that she's had about humans and sticks have meant that she should move, right? The wild horses have to be managed, moved in certain ways. Nice. I'm going to stay on this side because this is the side she was kind of wanting to wait. And I want to see if I can just let my stick just do that repetitious movement. Yeah. So smart you are. So smart you are. That moment when she thinks, you notice I'm not stopping the repetitious movement. But when she thought about needing to move, I just took my body into that pattern that she comprehends as peace pocket, neutral, just resting. The better I can be about catching things when they're small. It's actually in the Tao. I've been reading the Tao, and it's an ancient text, older than the Bible even. And it talks about, it's the Tao is the way. And one of the things that speaks about is how there's no problem that's actually too big if we are aware of the thing before it becomes the thing, right? If we notice it in the small steps of it, and then go ahead and take the time to address it. Don't. It's basically saying as soon as something little happens that is not in the direction of what of the intention, take the time it takes to work through it while it's little. And if we do that, nothing becomes big because we've taken care of it when it was small enough to take care of in a much easier way. As quiet as she is, I could go ahead and be trying to touch her. I could be trying to really make more steps in that direction. But until I can stand here and really let this stick be pretty floppy and loud and have her understand that it just means ground, then I really don't need to move on, because that's a fundamental piece we need to have. So she's gotten pretty good at it when I'm in movement. It's when I stop my feet that it gets a little confusing. I'm going to be on this side this time and just stop my feet. So see how she really thinks that means go ahead and go. And of course she would. I mean, that's similar to the way I've been using it when it did mean go ahead and go. Let's see if I can hang here for a second. It might be that I can only hang for about 3. See how I have about 3 flows before she's like, okay, I'm going. So I'm going to put that into a bit of a pattern. As I'm walking this arc, I'm going to be consistent and go to the same place in relationship to her each time. And I'm going to go to a place that's a little easier for her to stand. That left shoulder she's already thinking about going before I even stop my feet. Licking and chewing, so good. Means that there was pressure in her body and she's letting it go. So she's thinking. She may be standing here all nice and quiet and soft, but her mind is flexing. Her brain is definitely working. And that takes a tremendous amount of energy and focus. All right, so I'm going to pause my feet, 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to start walking again. So I'm just only going to ask her to hold for about 3 repetitions with my feet still, because that's where the confusion lands, is when my feet go still. So right here, my feet are still. 1, 2, 3. You see her question mark? She goes to look at it like, doesn't that mean something? Doesn't that mean I need to move? I'm going to stop my feet. 1, 2, 3. Well done. Not as much of a question mark that time. Stop my feet. 1, 2, 3. Well done. Can't stop my feet that time. As soon as I got there, she was already there. Nice. Nice. 1, 2. I think I'm only going to do 2 for now. 1, 2. Well done. And I wonder if I could go ahead and walk around her. Yeah, too much. Too much, she says. Too much. It's okay. Go back and step in front of that line of thought. It does help to have a little more space, though. All right, I'm going to go back to my arc. I'm not going to stop my feet yet. Just establish our... And sometimes when you're doing this kind of thing, you know, if you've been standing for too long, you need to just shift to something different for a while. So we'll do that if we need to. But this is good so far. She's figuring it out. I'm going to stick to my arc. I'm going to pause here. 1, 2. Back into my arc. Pause here. 1, 2. Back into my arc. One, 2. Nice. Pause here. 1, 2. Nice. Pause here. 1, 2. Into my arc. Pause here. 1, 2. Nice. Pause here. 1, 2. All right, I'm going to let her be done with that one. That was really well done. Big, big progress there. Good job. All right, I want to move our, okay, I'm going to pause and start again, or I might just have to stop the